I move approval of the minutes of Wednesday, February 3rd, 2010.
And I'd like my notebook sometime. Sorry. You guys wanna-
And everybody approve?
Yes.
Aye.
Okay. And anybody want to make a motion for the other minutes as well? For March?
I move the approval of the March 2010 minutes.
I second.
And call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we've got our minutes adopted, and now citizen comments. Anybody want to say anything? I guess not. Mo. Library report.
Okay, so, one of the things that you have attached is the monthly report for March, and that includes all the statistics.
This is cool.
That's
Paper.
a monthly stuff.
Oh, okay, did they come up?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I should be doing that over here too. So, as it notes, the loans continue to go up as compared to a year ago. A lot of business every day in the library. I haven't been really playing with these statistics long enough to know if there's a rhyme or reason to some of these things.
Can I, one of the things that I've always thought about these statistics would be much more helpful, I think, if we had a graph every month so that we could see how we're doing compared to last year at this month and previous months. Pretty easy to do, once it's set up. It would make it easier to,
No, it's just seems playing off last year, doesn't it?
I mean, if you have a picture, I mean, I'm not talking about not just the data in a table, but an actual graph for the critical data, which is number of books checked out.
Right, which is usually circulation and all
Yeah.
that kind of thing. The other thing I realized this year, just recently, is that we are not tracking door count, which is something that is pretty good to have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
How do you do that?
well, a lot of people do it with, their theft gates actually have something built in so that it just counts every time somebody walks in front of it, and then they try to divide that by 2 for the going in and going out. And so it's never a perfect system, or else they might have a week during the year where they just have somebody monitoring the door all the time and taking track of it, and then they extrapolate that out to a whole year. So it's really, you never can get this exact number, it's never perfect. But I think it's important to do something like that, so what we needed a number for a change of use permit or something, so we just had somebody sit there at the door for 4 hours on Friday and count the per hour, and then just sent that average. And it was surprisingly high. It was about 80 people an hour, and that's a lot more. People may have been there for 55 minutes. It could have been 2 people. They may have been there to pick up a hold. It's hard to say what, but it was more than we thought. So. I think that might be something that we might try to capture in the future. And so I'm kind of going through this as I do these statistics every month. I'm trying to think about what's helpful, what's not helpful, what else should we have, what's the best format to show it, makes it really good, and so it helps you guys understand so that you can advise me the best. And what are we capturing that is absolutely useless and just a waste of our time? So what's on it? What are we not capturing that would be really useful? So I'm trying to think about those things. If you have ideas, just let me know.
Do you have any kind of an estimate on, I was looking at the materials withdrawn under technical services, how many more we have to go? How many more I'm going to have to deal with in the book sale? Because I think once when I asked Debbie how many books we had, it was 100,000. I didn't realize how many of them really should have probably been discarded then.
Well, yeah, we have I think our count is 130 to 40,000.
Have you tracked computer usage and database? I know the database is through the collaborative, but,
It's really difficult,
okay.
yeah, through the collaborative.
Mm-hmm.
We could probably do Envision or statistics. That's not really on here, is it?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. That would tell us how many people are in the day.
It's getting an idea to see who accesses the non-print versus who's coming to check out.
Yeah, I don't know, there might be a way to capture who goes through our website somehow, but we just talked about this at our directors meetings, it's really messy and nobody is doing it.
Hmm.
Yeah, unless we have like a database that's just owned by us, and
Right.
we can just go straight to that vendor and they can get, you know.
Or a physical account.
You can't put something on the website that keeps track of how many hits you get?
Well, that's different than who uses our database.
Right.
I mean, people could,
You sign in using your library card, so you could be doing it from, you'd have the IP address, right?
yeah, I mean, if you sign in, let me investigate that a little bit more.
Just curious. I mean, just in terms of funding purposes later on, I think.
Well, as you say, it's just really nice to know who
What your
are
user
your
is.
patrons that may not be walking into
And you'd
the door.
expect that this internet computer stuff is gonna grow over time. So you really wanna keep track of that as much as anything else.
At least get a snapshot now so we can prepare.
Well, right, if I can't track it all the time, it's really way to do it.
Yeah.
You know, part-time track.
I know when we had Gail, they would send us a report saying this is how many users you've had, this is where they've used. But I don't think
But
that you're
then
able
before
to,
them, it's just really
it's too
cool.
much,
That's
yeah.
why.
Yeah.
Because with all these other libraries.
The other question I'd be really curious about is it says direct loans to public, but it doesn't say what type. We don't know how many people are downloading some of the new types of materials. What of the new things that people have access to are they using? And I know we
You mean
even,
like libraries to go, the downloadable audiobooks and stuff?
yeah, it'd be really interesting, you know, you must have something on it because then we need to have, you know, how, do we need to expand that particular area or decrease
Again,
it
it's
or
another
what?
distortion tool.
Yeah.
Or resource, and once you have like multiple parties in on something, it just makes it a lot harder.
Even if we had an idea of what was going on countywide, it would probably give some
We're gonna be able
clues
to do that.
as to what kinds of things we might want to use to expand for loans and not.
And didn't the state used to break out movies at some point? We did, never? You used to
Yeah.
break out books and movies, didn't it?
No, we used to ask the question a lot, and I think Debbie told us once or twice, but we never.
I've always been curious about how that breaks out because
Well, the cool thing, you guys, is that, our software, has a whole new module that is, we're just learning how to use it called director's section, and like now I can go in and I can try to do my own report and find my own statistics, and this is like, you need to leave that there. And so once I get savvier with that, then, I mean, you know, there's a lot of stuff I think we'll find that we now have access to that Debbie didn't or whatever, because it's this whole new tool.
Especially since, on the assumption that we're moving into a new facility that has a lot more space and we might be able to have a lot more computers and a lot different kinds of access, what are the things that we really need to expand and what things aren't being used?
That's statistics.
Your spare time.
Yeah, most of the time. All right, so shall I go down to library facility planning now? Since I just spaced it. Well, where we are is that we're still negotiating on this one.
agree to on staff of both parties, because you still have to get the board,
Yeah.
school board
That,
and.
that staff on both sides would recommend to both parties, exactly. And, so we're working on that. And,
You expect to have it by Wednesday?
I really hope so.
Are there any hangups and any substantive
Could
issues?
be, there could be some topics. Well, you know, the timing and the attendance are the two major topics. And, I mean, there's still been plenty of discussion about price, as you know.
Remind me what the interest rate on they're charging us.
So that's ongoing. And then, we did get additional 2 weeks at our current location to June 15th. And as of right now, we're on track to move into the Carnegie as an interim. And so what our current, plan is to be closed on June 12th, which is the weekend before we're supposed to be out, because that will be a good time to round up a lot of volunteers and stuff. And, start moving out that weekend, and then reopen in the Carnegie on June 21st, Monday, June 21st.
It'll be closed for a week.
A little bit longer than, it's a week and 2 days, it's 2 weekends. I figured that, to try and get more help on those, you know, on the weekends. Where we can get.
The only thing regulatory that you need to get is the change of use, and you expect that to be obtained by when? And who's the
Well,
decision maker on
it's a
that?
relatively long process. We had our pre-application hearing this morning, and that's just to walk through and all the steps. And we expect to submit our application on Friday. And there's a 3-week notice period. Ends up being like 5 to 7 weeks total.
It looks like from your review that we meet all the criteria.
Has this been posted already on the website and letting patients know once it solidifies?
Yeah,
Mhm.
once we submit the application. Well, we have to, whatever notice that they tell us to do.
Well, it's really not unknown for things to pop up after those initial meetings, that those people at the meeting are clueless on. It's happened to me at least once.
Maureen, are you supposed to be doing something so the next part of the agenda comes up on when we're on the floor?
Which other?
Oh, there we go, sorry.
Thank you.
I only clicked once. All right, so that's what I know on library facility planning. And other.
Are we doing anything with the building now, the Carnegie?
Yeah,
I mean, what are we doing, I mean, before the change of use is approved? Are we in there moving shelves and?
well, what we have to figure out is, you know, well, we've had an architect and an engineer in there, making sure that the, electrical load will bear the computers and all that stuff that we have in the library, that, we can have folks where we want to have. That, you know, when we lay out of where things should be, we have to look at the furniture that's in there and
burn books in their kiln?
don't want to go into rare. So, you know, there's a lot to think about. I mean, there's just, even though the building, you know, if you go in there for a meeting, you think, oh, this is an empty building, there's so much stuff in there that just takes up space that we can't use for the library. unless you can use it for the library. You know, so can this countertop be used as a circulation desk, for instance? And then what does that mean we do with the countertop we're currently using as a circulation desk? So we have to make all those decisions, you know, before we move, so that when we do have movers and volunteers show up, we know exactly what to tell them to do. So that's what we're doing now.
And staffing decisions?
Yeah, we need to make some more staffing decisions because it's actually, we may actually have one more desk than, we have at the current location because we have it downstairs. So staffing could look a little bit different and we need to decide if we're gonna add some hours and then, you know, we talked about adding an hour on open until we see those days. And so what was staffing look like?
What does staffing look like as you shrink from 17,000 feet to the 6,000 square feet? What is going to happen to staffing hours?
13,000,
That's it.
17.
I'm sorry,
You're
that's the
getting-
new. I'm
it's
thinking,
the new.
okay.
You're
From
already-
13 to 6. What does that do to our staffing, GT, you know, GFEs over the course of the year?
Well, I don't have any answers for you today. I mean, you know, there are services that we're not gonna be offering in the same depth because we are not gonna have a major portion. A lot of, what I'm envisioning, a lot of people will be coming to pick up poles, will be kind of like a branch, you know, so that there won't be the depth of the collection, but there will be other services. We may not have space to do crafts, for instance. So, you know, those are, I don't know exactly what everything is gonna look like.
Any idea whether story time is gonna be upstairs, downstairs, children's?
Right
library,
now,
any of
we're
that?
planning on putting children's downstairs, so that it can be a little bit more separate of the space. That's one of the problems with Burgess now, is that. Everybody knows their opinion on it. You know, and so we can use that to our advantage here.
Is there an elevator?
Comes up in an inconvenient place upstairs. But it's there.
Or the possibility of some of us who have not been in the Carnegie since it was upgraded and in all of its interim use, that we could be walked through at some point.
I take it back.
Okay, Oregon City Library Friends Report.
Okay, we've got quite a bit of things going on this month. Tomorrow we're having a staff appreciation at the library, and the next Thursday at the bookstore we're having a volunteer appreciation, and I think Harriet's got some cards for people. And we've got good goodies this year, so you'll really like that. The bookstore in the month of March made a profit of income of $4,112.15. Farmers market starts May 1st. And there's going to be a book sale from books called from the library again on May 7th and 8th. I think Harriet told me that our last book sale netted us $631 at The high was a quarter book and went down to 10 cents a book, so we made it.
On the last day, 10 cents
I got
a
it.
book, we paid $56. That's
I got a,
560.
I got a 1,200 page, 25-cent book, which I'm about a quarter of the way through.
I hope you're enjoying it.
I'm there.
And this year, the Friends are also going to, be part of, Oregon City's Charm and all the charms again, so.
Do you have any plans on, doing book sales at the Saturday market, which is on, Thursday nights? What's gonna be?
Wednesday nights? No.
You don't plan on doing that?
Well, think about it, Phil, you only have so many books coming in, and then you only have so many volunteers, and so. Sit at the farmer's market, so.
Yeah, we'll stick with the Saturday.
And the other issue is if you're at the other one, that's a year-round market, and we have books, and books don't do well together. Did I leave anything out, other Friends members? I think I did a little bit. I think I've got it all.
Okay, thanks. Library Foundation report? Any other report?
Not really, except, we know that the paperwork was filed in February, with the IRS. The IRS received, the attorney let us know that it was all received. He's filing the paperwork with the state of Oregon. So, I think the question is, do we need to know where the home is going to be before we do a kickoff?
I think so.
Or it seems to me if we do some sort of kickoff without having a clear home, it may be problematic. So once we put to bed where we're going to be, I think that we should get working very quickly on the kickoff event.
Makes sense.
Are we, should we also be concerned with how the museums are solving their issues while we're doing fundraising? I think too.
Well, I think we want to be sensitive to that.
Yeah.
Not, schedule something near to, something they're scheduling.
I think there's other issues too. Foundation.
Foundation, friend.
From Danielson?
Yes. Instead of trying to follow the library along, it's easier just to use the store address. It's the Friends address.
502 7th Street, 970.
A 5-year lease, so we know where we are for at least 5 years.
And is that actually Friends of the Oregon City or Friends Bookstore? Or Friends of the Library? Okay. Thanks.
Appropriate to have a foundation meeting. It's next month. To talk about what Kairos, just to brainstorm.
I can't hear you, Krista.
Do you think it's appropriate to have a foundation meeting instead of a separate foundation? I think it would be.
Then we should do it.
Okay. Maybe we'll plan after the next meeting, 1 hour or something like that. Okay. Is that? Okay.
By then, the Easton deal should be inked. By our next meeting.
Don't hold your breath, Phil.
Oh,
Well, even if it isn't, we can still put some temporary materials together.
okay. New business, library board member reports. Anybody have any new business? I have one little thing, which is kind of old business, new business. The consultant who was working on at the end of the Oregon Trail Museum down the hill, died. And when I was scheduled to go, telling books and floodplains don't mix, which just came from Karen, by the way, not my original idea, and be done with it, because they really want some input. I mean, they're looking for community input, not just library board community input. They're looking for community input. So I thought I'd show up and just ran on for a little bit. But if anybody else want to go to contribute your thoughts to it, I mean,
You have your new time?
it's on the 28th, and I do not have a new time. I wasn't going to go at all, based on, it's coming up like next week. Does anybody have any comments on it at all? On what to do with that down there? Any thoughts? Yeah. As a use. Well, I don't think, they don't have the budget to do it as an interpretive center anymore, so it's gonna have to be something else. Any
I find that
thoughts?
very sad.
Hmm?
I find that very sad. I mean, I think that it's, I know there's not funding for it, but just historically, it's, it needs to be acknowledged somewhere and somehow. I don't know.
I really wouldn't immediately go to that point. That's part of the reason for the consultant,
Oh, go to what point?
that it can't be continued. It could have a similar function in a different form.
That's a question, it's all about the money, Karen. Of course, it's all about the money. Where's the money?
Well, that's what they're trying to glean from anybody that has an idea.
Right. So, well, then I think I will just call them and tell them I'm not gonna go on behalf of the library board. I might go and as part of the Rotary Club or something, because we don't have anything to say, and there's no reason to take up their time. Yeah. We have no, there is nothing the library can do with that space down there, for sure. We shouldn't make any noises in that regard whatsoever.
Stilts.
And then we need money.
They could figure out a way to just maintain it as a site, a historical site, because it has a lot of history to it. I know the thing that aggravated me the most when we moved back home was to find out what had happened to it on the temporary 30 years we were gone.
Okay. Anybody else have any new business of any kind? All right. So our next meeting is on May the 12th. Then we're gonna have a foundation meeting after that.
Or do you think maybe it's more appropriate if we do it sooner than that? Or we can just report, so we go on record with anything that's necessary at the next May 12th meeting? Should we just do something in 2 weeks, or would you rather wait until after?
I think it makes sense to wait until after Easter.
Okay.
Either happens or doesn't happen. I think we'll know in the next month what's gonna happen. So don't you? So, yeah. All right, we're ready to adjourn. Anybody wanna make a motion?
I move we adjourn.
And everybody agreed, let's go. Before we start here, I think it was much more informal than this.
FYI, you have an email from Nancy. The rest of the meeting went fine, and it should be up.
Okay? Meeting is adjourned.